Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Coffee Break Podcast. I'm your host, the boy, Slim. This is my brother,
Jama.
This is my other brother,
Mukhtar.
And today, first off, before I start the topic, give me a little 360 of your haircut, bro. I need them to know what's going on. Yo, stop this. Stop. Bro, hide your wives, hide your girlfriends. Bro, don't bring your girl around this guy, bro. Like, chill.
For Valentine's Day, I had to bring a heart.
The fur, the brown. Stop it.
You see the bottom of your foot.
Stop. We don't want to see the rest, bro. We don't want to see the rest, man. Come on. But today, we're going to get into a very interesting topic, something that hits home for everybody, I feel like. Introverts versus extroverts. All right? We're going to define the two types of personalities, what we think about them. And I'm going to start it off here. I'm going to just briefly describe myself a little bit. I consider myself to be an introverted person. As many times as I tell you that and you look at me the same way, bro, like I truly and honestly,
I swear you're lying.
I truly and honestly consider myself an introverted ass nigga, bro. Like, allow me, let me be me.
No, because before you go into it, you are, if it's like a line, you're more on the extroverted side.
Cap.
But there are times where you can be introverted, but mostly you're introverted.
Okay.
You're extroverted.
Okay. There's enough of diagnosing me, right? I know me better than you know me.
No, that's cap.
But okay, let me kind of quickly define what we're talking about here. So introverted people and extroverted people are two characteristics of how personalities are shaped, Introverted people are people who are more to themselves, who like their personal space a lot more than being around other people. They kind of recharge when they're alone.
Facts, yeah.
And they need their alone time to kind of be amongst other people. Essentially, introverted people are people who are closed off to themselves, who need to be more alone to be able to recharge and kind of gather themselves so that they can be amongst society, Yeah. And on the flip side, there's extroverted people who are people who kind of need that social interaction to actually recharge and to get their energy, and they feed off of conversation and talking to people and being present amongst others, So those are the two types of individual people that we have in the world, per se. But essentially, everybody kind of falls into one hat. And for me, I personally think, as much as you'd like to disagree, I'm a very introverted person. I enjoy my private time. I enjoy my space. I enjoy my own company a lot. I can be amongst others in social groups, but I'd much rather be to myself. Like I said, I like to recharge on my own. And I feel like, at least for me, I feel like I get very nervous and closed off when I'm put into large groups of people. So that being said, I personally think I'm an introvert. This nigga's out here disagreeing with me for the last 10 years, 15 years. So
he's lying. That's why.
I'm not lying, bro.
I swear he just wants to be part of the introverted club. He's not
just because I can hold my own in a group of people doesn't mean I don't like
what
to
are you trying to say? Trying to say I can't hold my own?
I'm just saying, you're just a mute ass nigga, bro.
First of all, let me get to me and then I'll get to you.
All right.
So I've always been introverted.
I like how he changed position.
Yeah,
Just
I have
the dominant hand.
I'm gonna show you what it's like to be introverted. I'm gonna show him what the life of an introverted dude is.
Come on.
Let me tell you. Do you know what it's like being young?
I know what it's like being young?
Having to present in front of 30 students.
I was in the same school.
Nothing coming out. Okay. Do you know what it's like when you had to be in front of an auditorium and you almost felt like pissing yourself?
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. Yo, do you know what it's like liking somebody and then planning everything and then picking her up and then she's saying, "Why aren't you talking?"
Nigga,
Why aren't you talking?
that's a you problem, nigga. It's not a me problem.
The point I'm making is, I am what you call an introvert.
You're a classic,
classic.
core, clean cut introvert.
100%. But then, of course, as I grew up, my job I have to deal with a lot of people, so I had to come out of my comfort zone. I've been forced to. There was a time in a day I was talking to like 50 to 100 people a day, so I had to get out of my cell or I wasn't going to get paid.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely, I managed to get to the point where I can hold conversations with people and kind of better myself in that direction. However, when I'm in my own personal time, by all means, I prefer to stay. Remember, one thing that you said earlier was I recharge when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
When I'm in a big group of people, I'm at 100, And then slowly but surely it comes down to 75 to 50 to 25 to 0 to
It's
the
like
point.
a battery, right? Your
Yeah,
social
to the
battery.
point where I'm just gonna be like, yo, I'm out of here. How many times have I told you guys I don't want to be here anymore?
Bare times.
Like I'm not
This
trying
guy's
to
such
be
a
that.
party pooper, bro. He's like, yo, let's get out of here, man.
It's because I don't like that. I
Your
don't like
battery's
that.
at zero, I like.
On a zero, when my battery's at 0,
Mm-hmm.
I only tell the people who I'm actually close to, yo, I can't do this anymore.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Fair enough.
I've stopped that recently, but
Your battery gets to zero very quick, though, man. I mean, like,
does.
you need to get a new phone, fam. Like,
See,
you know?
we went to a spot where there was music playing and shit like that.
that was
And-
good for that.
Yeah, no, but at the end, your guys' favorite person came on, and I'm looking for you guys. I'm looking around. You and the other we're not there.
No, because
I go outside. They're sitting on the floor.
no, that was because it was such a closed off space with so many people. I was sharing the same
I was
breath.
there in COVID, too, right?
Yeah, I was sharing
Yeah.
the same breath. I was exhaling, another person was inhaling my
It
breath.
was like
fam.
shoulder to shoulder.
I'm not trying to do
Yeah.
that.
But yo, okay, that's a good example. You know the shoulder to shoulder type of
Yeah.
party scene that you guys were at? That has never been my scene at all. I get so uncomfortable when people are that close to me. Like, you know, concerts and like
Yeah.
big parties and nightclubs and shit. I hate that shit, bro. Especially being like a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Bro, not trying to be amongst those crowds. Yo, not trying to get stampeded on, bro. It's just not for me.
Facts. Remember
But-
Rolling Loud?
Oh my god, how could I forget? Me and my brother were out of there, bro. We were literally with a stampede going on in front of me, and I was
That's
like,
what I knew. That
the running
this
of the
guy-
bulls was going on right in front of us, and me and my brother were like, yo, us 5'7" guys, we're out of
Yo,
here.
that's
We're out of
so-
here.
That's what I knew. Because remember, for 10 years, I've been telling you you're an extroverted dude.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what I knew, that he actually has attributes of introvert.
I'm out of here, bro. Like, I had to get out
You
of
were
here.
like, yo, I can't wait for toy lane, blah, 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 blah.
Bro, it was okay. The people that we were with, I'm not gonna name who they are, but they kept saying, "Let's go in the mosh pit. Let's go in the mosh." You know what I'm talking about, right? They're like, "Let's go in the mosh pit." I'm like, bro, look at me right now. Like, do I look like I'm gonna survive that mosh pit?
Facts.
So like, that's when I was like, let me get out of here. But let me ask you this: I always found it as like almost like a phenomenon where extroverted people need to be amongst those crowds and need to like recharge amongst those big groups of people, like parties and stuff. I always found that like a phenomenon almost in my head. Like, how can you need that when I'm trying to run away from it as much as I am?
It's just, they're just the opposite of it. You know how you recharge when you're by yourself?
Yeah.
Those people need to be in a big group of individuals in order to get that 0. They start off at 0 and then they get to 100. Even
Yeah.
though in my world that makes absolutely no sense. But I think those people were hit the hardest during COVID.
How does that work though? Like, I always found it like very strange to me, but interesting. You know, like on a day-to-day basis, you start up, you wake up, you're on your ones, you know, and the closest person to you may be in like another room or something like that. But the need to have that interaction with people, I found that so interesting because like, especially in the morning, bro, I ain't trying to talk to no one. Don't look at me. Don't even try and crack to me. It's before I had my coffee, dog.
100%.
Before I had like a sip of water or something like that. Get out of my face, bro. Don't even. And then like on the flip side, you have people that are like, "Hey, good morning, happy to see you," you know, and they're just like super friendly, happy to see you, always talking. I find that so odd, you know, like that exists, you know.
Yep, and it's their thing, and I can't talk on their experience.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to me how there's a group of people who want to always be a part of a group setting, and that's so crazy to me because in my head, I love you know about me days. I've talked about me days so frequently, like
That's-
every Friday
Fam,
afternoon.
you actually influenced me to start having me days.
because it's important to
It's
have.
so necessary,
It's so
dog.
important to
So
have.
ne-
Like
this guy
every
put me on.
Saturday is a me day because I know from 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
to 1 a.m. when I typically sleep.
1 a.m.
How do you say? Yeah.
One.
It got better though.
1, right?
It got better. But I know
Nigga the wake at
that's-
4 a.m.,
that's
bro,
time-
playing COD.
That's time dedicated for me to work on.
That's your me time.
That's my me
That's
time.
your it's your social battery recharging.
100%. And
literally.
then Sunday comes around, and Monday I have work again. I have to talk to people who I may not want to talk to, and it's my thing. To the point where I remember there was a time where there was a real life social battery experience where I went on a work trip to Montreal, like in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then we were all on a bus. There was like 15 of us. And then I remember I was totally fine having a conversation with the dude right next to me, but slowly but surely I was on a bus with them for 2 hours straight.
Yikes.
To the point where I was in a corner of the window, and my manager had to come up to me like, "Yo, is everything okay? Everything good?" I'm
Damn.
like, "I'm blush. I just don't want to talk to people."
Damn, you
And
wanna do okay?
and to the point where they had to, like, moving forward, there was no activity like that anymore because they knew they had to kind of be like, "Yo, Rasami doesn't enjoy stuff like that."
Damn, you killed the mood.
You ruined the whole vibe.
I killed him.
You ruined the whole trip. Yo, the bus is like, oh, he's coming. Shit.
It was so awkward, but there was a type of bus where you're sitting in like a U shape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you're looking right at somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
But yo, okay, let me ask you this. So I have extroverted friends, right?
Yeah.
I have friends who need to talk to to people to like recharge and stuff like that. And I find that when I talk to them, I have no problem like kind of almost mimicking their extrovertedness. Like I can have an extroverted conversation, if that makes sense, with another extroverted person. Like, you know, like very loud, very present, very in your face, very in the moment, you know, as opposed to like a quiet, reserved, you know, like closed offish conversation with somebody who's like introverted and kind of quiet, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like there's a balance that's needed, right? And I want to kind of get into that, like how people find the balance, because like we were saying before we were off camera, there's this term ambivert, right? And you were just saying before that that's a myth that doesn't exist. No one can be an ambivert, right?
Facts.
But we kind of came to the conclusion that there's a spectrum that exists, right? Where one side is fully extroverted and one side is fully introverted, right? And along our lives, especially like through our formidable years, like our teens and our 20s, we're always just trying to find the perfect balance, right?
Yeah.
Especially when to be when to be what in each scenario. And I find that that's kind of the constant journey that we're facing through life, you know? Because like somebody like me who's like a introverted person, right? It takes a lot out of me to try and be amongst those crowds of people, to try and be amongst like the group, you know, to be present amongst the group, right? And over time, I feel like that's become a skill of mine, you know? So like other people would see me as like an extroverted person like you did for like 10 years.
You are,
know?
though.
But it's just truly me just being in the group, just trying to interact, trying to be as present as possible. You know, that's kind of like the skill you have to learn growing up as you kind of define your personality.
No, you're right. And like I learned that in order to get out of my shell, that's when real experiences come to me. Where actually not even experiences, but opportunities. When I started to learn how to talk, I was able to put myself in the correct rooms, talk to the right people to put me in a better spot. Not even like professionally, but just like personally. Like when I was able to start talking, I was able to actually go up to people who I was infatuated with, right? I was able to talk to that big boss that I was scared of earlier about like ways that I can improve my job, you know? And I think it's a really important skill to have because if you're not able to advocate for yourself, there's nobody who is willing to for you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Your voice, if you don't say it, it will never be heard.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And one thing I also wanted to kind of bring up a short story. Like for me, I found out that this all kind of ties in with communication, right? How we're able to communicate, how we're able to get our thoughts off, because we're all thinking these things, but we're very different in how we voice our thoughts, you know? And for me, I think a very useful tool for me was my first job in high school was at a call center, Access Research, remember? Bro, that got me comfortable with talking to strangers for the first time.
What was your fake name?
Josh. My name is Josh, guys.
What did you used to say? What did you say when you picked up the phone?
Hi, guys. First, I used to be like, hi, my name is Muhammad. Muhammad? Get this terrorist off my phone right now. Yo, Canadians can be rednecks too, bro. You know that?
Really?
Yeah.
No. You know, I you know the accent that people say Canadians have. It's outside of Toronto. Like if you hear somebody like
go to Saskatchewan or some shit, bro.
They actually there.
Bro, it's a mess.
But keep going. What about your story?
Essentially, what I found out, and this is years later, you know, that job got me very good with finding that balance between extrovertedness and introvertedness, because for the first time in my life, I was talking to people I've never met before, who I don't know, who are completely different demographics than me, who one wouldn't find themselves comfortable in these conversations, and that I'm not gonna lie to you, I found caffeine while I was at that job, so it kind of got me bouncing off the walls. You know, I started learning how to drink coffee and shit, and that kind of got me bouncing off the walls and ready to talk and more open to talk to people, and I feel like that helped me formulate this balance of extrovert and introvert in life. And when I kind of brought that back into like my actual personal life, and we graduated high school and I got into college and stuff, it was easier for me to meet people who didn't look like me or sound like me, because I already had an experience talking with different demographics of people.
So you basically like were able to get that skill when you were like 18, right?
Yeah.
For me, like I was a late bloomer. Really? I was like 23.
Why do you think it took so long?
Like, I don't know. Like what? So we had our high school, where everybody knew each other. So there was no need to be introvert or extrovert. Everybody just it was a very comfortable setting.
Yeah.
You come to university, there's like 10,000 people on campus every day. I didn't talk to nobody. I got my hot chocolate from Second Cup.
Yeah.
I went to
I
class.
remember you in university too. You're like, yo, when's your class gonna finish?
Yeah, I was never on campus for longer than I needed to be on campus.
Yeah.
Because there was no need to talk to people whom I would never need outside these walls.
Facts. And you used to hang out with our old high school friends.
Yeah,
in uni.
I'm not making. My thing is, I already have a group of friends. I'm not making more friends. That was my like my mindset when I was
stuck to that, guys.
Yeah, to the point. I've added 3 new friends since then.
Maximum.
I'm not adding new people.
I read it.
But like, I remember when I started to develop the skill is when I started to work. And then going back to what I said earlier, I was forcefully taken out of my shell because I needed to talk to 50 to 100. At one point, I was in a room with over 500 people, and I needed to present something. And my manager and director were right there. And I let them know ahead of time, listen, one of the things I'm working on as a person is my ability to present. Because it's something that is kind of keeping me down. And I know if I develop the skill set, like, when you talk about your performance plans, presenting was one of them. So they were like, all right, well, we'll let you present in front of 12 people. Man's put me in front of 500 people. Present something that you always talk about. That's it. Something so simple, it has to be 2 minutes, and then you're good to go. The CEO was there, fam.
Yo, they set you
They set me up. So then, alhamdulillah, I presented. Yeah. Then I got a standing ovation.
Nice.
Good job.
I got a standing, and then a year later, I was an intern there. So they told me to present in front of 30 interns that were currently doing their internships. Nice. And then I presented. They thought it was absolutely amazing. I got all their contacts, and now they still talk to me to this day if they need like a resume building or some sort of like that. Like putting yourself out of your comfort zone gives you the ability to grow in a place where you feel uncomfortable. That's always my mindset. Like I know I can grow in places where I feel uncomfortable because that's when I have to forcefully take myself out of like my shell in order to develop a skill set that I need to acquire. You know what I mean?
And those skills can take you so far, bro.
That's how I developed the ability to talk. Now I can actually talk to people. Like I can go out there and say something to that person. You know what I mean?
Like that's so hard.
it was hard for me.
It was. I hear what you're saying.
It was hard.
I never presented something in my life.
Really?
Ever. Like never did a speech. Never did like a.
Your job doesn't.
Unless it was like in school, like amongst the class. Yeah. Never outside of that. Never.
Me neither.
That's insane. I find that's something that's so dope.
It's part of my job.
That's actually so dope.
I have to always be presenting stuff.
Yeah, because that's like a life skill that you can use even way later after this job is done. Like stage fright that's flying off of you right now.
Yeah, I still have it. Don't get me. I still get nervous right before, but when it's like when the lights are on, I'm fine.
I want to bring up an interesting point. We're introverts, right? We consider ourselves introverts.
I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
But keep going.
But let me ask you this. Okay, as an introverted person, do you fight or the battle, the inner battle of trying not to bring unwanted attention to you?
Let me tell you a story.
I love that. I love the sound of that. Go ahead.
You triggered him.
I triggered
Let me tell you.
Let's go.
I remember there was a time where I was getting my hair braided, right?
Yeah.
And it was a close friend of mine. So I came to their house. They told me to wait somewhere, and I was waiting. I sat on the stairs with my hands like this, just waiting like this. Good boy,
Good
like,
moss boy.
like this.
Good boy.
Mind you, this is only 2 years ago. It's not even that long. I'm a grown ass man.
Got a beard doing that. Yo, chill.
So then I remember her husband was right nearby, and he was like, "Why are you acting like a miskeen?" And I was just trying to be normal in my zone, not trying to be any. I was playing with the cats.
That hurt you a lot.
That hurt me. Yeah. I'm not in your space. Leave me alone, my guy.
Love me, man.
So then
I would have been disgusted too if you're playing with the cats just sitting on the stairs.
And then the point I'm making is, I was trying to be in my own zone, not bother anything. But in reality, I was just ruining the mood of that house because everybody was alone. I was too alone. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like I know they were right there.
Was there a couch and a table and like a seating?
Sitting right next to the couch.
Nigga, what's wrong with you? First, let me ask you a question. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you ever like to just be comfortable?
Because I hate small talk, man. I hate. How are you doing? I'm good.
Let me tell you something that's, you should just keep reiterating in your head.
What?
Small talk, you'll never be able to avoid. It's always going to be there. At all points of your life, you're going to have engagement in small talk.
Small talk is the bane of my existence.
As much as we hate it, it's necessary.
Why though?
Because it could lead to
Watch
something.
how you go directly into a good
A
conversation.
small talk conversation can
How?
lead to it could lead to a revelation in your life
How?
that you never even thought of. You could be talking to somebody about like the weather, and that could lead to them being like, "Yo, you know, I have this old Porsche that I don't want anymore. Do you want it?" You know,
That never happens.
That
Never.
you know, like
that's a fact though. Small talk can lead to different business.
yeah, like
opportunities.
It can.
it just
Different
it's not necessarily having faith that would happen. It's more so just acknowledging that there's no getting around this. What you did was trying to get around it and caused yourself a bigger storm.
And then
you know,
the whole family was like, "Yo, why is he sitting there like so?"
who's this
risky?"
weirdo, bro?
then-
Like, what's wrong with this guy?
They were like,
man?
"Yo, come sit on the couch."
This guy
And then
have a backbone?
I sat on the couch and I was just like this,
Weird ass nigga, man.
like this.
Nah. Honestly, if your hands were like that anywhere near my house, I would have to actually leave.
I'd be like, yo, what are you
What
holding
is he
on
hiding?
to? What are you holding on to? What are you holding
I'm
on
just
to?
not trying to be a bother, you know.
Nah.
You know those suspect ass niggas that you're just looking
Yeah.
at? Yo, this guy's
I'm
too
just not
quiet.
trying to bother anybody.
Nah, if
but-
I was the father of that house, who'd you bring to my house? Why is his hands like that?
Don't kill me.
But to the point that you're making earlier, it's super duper important to develop that skill set because
You made a great point. I hate small talk too, man. When I like right now. For
you
example,
talking all that crap, but you don't like it either.
Let me give you
You
an
don't
example.
like it either.
Let me give you an example. Right now, I'm going to get my hair braided after this. Right,
Oh,
I'm
that's
going to
right,
be
get a fro?
sitting in the chair. Yeah, bro, baby,
Okay,
taking it back to high school.
Jeez. I'll keep going.
But in that 2 hours, I'm not gonna say a word at all.
Never.
Unless I'm engaged first. Like, hey, so what is this? Or like, that's it. It's never gonna be like for me, from my end, engaging a conversation because I know that 2 hours, that battery is gonna drain within the first 30 minutes. So let me not even engage it.
Oh, you're worse than me.
Fam.
You're worse than me. What are you talking about?
Because like the place I'm
Wow, you
going,
guys mentioned the same thing?
it's like the place, the environment that I get my hair done. It's like a setting where people are already in, kind of talking amongst themselves, and I'm just like, yo,
Oh, no, you can play that off.
just
yeah.
play. Let me just hear the music, bro. Let me just think.
No, you have to talk to your barber. You
My
have
barber,
to
I do
develop.
talk to,
Yeah.
but my hair braider, I'm just like,
Oh, they're the same
we're here
person
for like
me.
3 hours. Like, I'm good.
No, but I can get that. If the room is very entertaining,
Yeah.
there's no need to talk to the barber.
Yeah,
'cause you guys are both invested in whatever is going on in the room.
Yeah, and then it typically ends up happening where my my hair braider ends up just conversating with the rest of the people that are there, and I'm just like fly on the wall. In the
Yeah, but when they're
conversation.
talking to other people, I notice that they take longer. So that's why I make them focus on me.
No.
I want the time to go by. That's why I want them to engage as much as they can, and just me do my own thing.
Oh,
you know?
you're worse
I'll
than
just
me.
listen to the music, even though the music's, But for the most part, the idea is to get a balance between the two, right? You can engage in conversation in groups, and you can also be amongst yourself.
Let me ask you a question. Do you gravitate more towards extroverted or introverted people?
That's a very good question. I try to, for me specifically, it doesn't necessarily have to matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. It happens to matter of what my mood is at the time.
Okay.
If I'm in an engaging mood,
Yeah.
or if I'm in an engaging presence, or an environment,
Yeah.
then I will be more likely to engage. You might see me more of it as an extroverted person in that sense, But if I'm not in that mood, or if I'm just not comfortable, I want to be amongst myself, then you might see me as like a quiet individual or a person who's just like super quiet. But that's mainly just me, Like
So you can never be always in a group of just extroverted people, right? You need
Yeah,
a good balance.
exactly.
So
exactly.
do you have a friend group dedicated to, hey, I
Yep.
want to talk, hey, I want to just chill?
Exactly.
Really?
Yep.
I knew that.
I have friends for every reason. Especially I find that, and this is just personally my findings, but a lot of my female friends are extroverts. Like they can just talk forever.
Really?
Forever.
For me, it's the opposite.
I don't know
I
how.
find that so intriguing.
Really?
I especially for Muslim girls,
Mm-hmm.
I typically notice that they're more reserved, and that's just what I've noticed. But typically when you go to more like Adam people, I notice that they're just more out and about. Like, hey, how are you doing?
I know. It's like I get a lot of like in small talk in text messaging, and I just can't stand that. Like,
Hey, you're right, though.
how are you?
I can't deal with that.
How do I respond to that?
I can't do-
How do you respond to "How are you" in text?
But yeah, let me share a funny story. I remember there was a time when I was 18, I was so introverted. My apologies. That I had you remember when I had an afro like double the size?
Remember that. Remember that.
I was waiting at Starbucks, fam.
You and your
and
Starbucks.
then I remember there was two Adan girls who were like, "Hey, your hair is amazing. Can I touch you?"
Oh, I get that all the time.
And I wanted to say no, but I was too nervous for anything to come out of my mouth. So they took my not saying anything as okay. So then they grabbed my hair like this, and then pulled it. And then my other friend Abdullahi, he actually had to stand up for me, like, "Yo, don't do that to my friend."
What?
I remember I was so introverted to the point where
You were a bitch.
yeah,
I'm just saying.
basically.
I'm joking.
No, like I'm not even gonna front. I needed to grow as a person, you know.
Wow.
That actually happened. There was a point where I was such a
That's not an introvert though. That's
It's
just
just a push.
no. There was no
social,
words.
No, you didn't have social skills.
Yeah, I
Social
didn't. I found I
anxiety.
didn't have no social skills. I had to develop that as I grew up.
What grade
man.
is that? What grade is that?
It was first year uni. I was
Nigga.
18.
Nah, man.
That was so long ago.
Nigga.
If they're asking you to touch that's
That used to
Long
happen to me in
story
high
short, that
school.
happened though.
That used to happen to me in high school. People used to come up to me on the subway a lot. They used to be like, "Can I touch your hair?" And I used to be like, "What the fuck? No."
They see us as like these creatures. man.
Objects. Like, what the hell? That happened to me a lot, yo. That's a flashback memory.
But it happened, and I'm like, that's when I knew
You've
that.
gotten abused.
I did,
coming
fam.
up.
I was such
With
a
the hair thing in the
fam.
stairs.
I was a quiet kid, fam. No, the stairs one was more normal though.
No, but
Stairs one. Was
if your
normal.
hands were like this, we can't be friends anymore.
I was like this, fam.
We cannot be friends anymore.
Cause I don't like being part of settings that I don't know
Nah.
about. You know what I mean? That's
I'm
basically
a-
what I was doing.
No, you look like you're a
Not trying
victim.
to make, not trying to make any trouble, guys.
That's exactly when I was 18. That was my mindset.
So how are you now?
I'm decent.
Now you're you know you have some attitude on you now.
I'm
Right?
at, like I can,
You're like, no.
100%. I can defend.
That's-
I can fight.
People,
Hey.
The last episode people seen talk about the father's not gonna look tougher than me.
Did this guy allow this nigga? Come on, man.
I'm different now, though. I'm different. I'm
That's the
not,
balance right there. You know? That's the spectrum.
I know
Thinking
now
all
if somebody's to
sides.
come.
What?
I know now if somebody's to come. You know what I mean? One of those.
It was ever since he got in the gym, you know, the all
Basically,
changed.
yeah, that's
So I've been telling him
the
since he's got in the gym.
The gym did raise my confidence significantly.
Yeah, he just
It
got
did.
more testosterone.
I'm just waiting for one time. I'm gonna start a fight with somebody. I'm gonna move out the way. Let him handle that.
I got
I
you.
want to see where it goes.
I got you, fam. I'm always here for you.
Come
I
on, man.
appreciate that.
Coffee Break Podcast. These are, you know, homegrown security guard.
Yeah.
Ow. My arm, guys.
Such a waste.
I'm joking. But yo, honestly, to kind of wrap up this conversation though, we do need to find a balance in life. We're all just searching for that balance,
Facts.
right? Because
The balance is being a politician.
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so. You can't be a politician, bro. Politicians just love lying, fam. You
No,
gotta take-
politicians force themselves in environments.
Yeah.
and being like, you're a business person now.
Yeah.
The last time we went somewhere like downtown, that place, and you said, "Yo, I want that guy." Like I said, I'm not a person that talks too much,
Mhm.
but I said, "Yo, let's go talk to him,"
Mhm.
because it's a political moment.
Yeah.
It's a moment for you guys to connect
Yep.
and find a common ground and find a mutual business opportunity.
Yeah. I agree.
That's what being a politician is. Just go and talk to people.
I just don't like the phrase politician. I understand what you're saying. I think it's more just like the idea of the actions that you're describing. I 100% agree with. I just think when the term politician is assigned to it, I just think of the wrong.
You just
the
hate
wrong thing.
politicians,
I hate
right?
politics, bro. Look what John Tory just did, bro. Come on, man.
Yo, what do you
No.
think about that?
Yo, John Tory had bitches up, fam.
Fam,
Shocking.
Yo, during COVID too. Yo, my guy
Shocking.
posed more game than people are.
We've had
Shocking.
some wild mayors from RP Doug Ford.
Yeah.
I don't know if some people hate him, some people love him. That guy was
That
doing
was my
drugs.
mayor. That was my
He
mayor.
was in Etobicoke a lot.
Bro, we went to
He
his
was a
crib.
football coach.
Yeah.
He had a party in his crib, and the whole Western Road came out. It was insane. RIP, man. But yo, to kind of wrap it up though, essentially, what you're saying is 100% true. I agree. You need to kind of like that exact example that you were describing right there, like the need or the willingness to engage in conversation with people, strangers, for the betterment of you or for the betterment of what you're trying to do, is something that we're trying to all achieve. You know, like who likes really going up to, who's like a introverted person who likes to go up to strangers? I don't know anyone that exists, you know, but we all know that we need to have that, right? And then on the flip side of that too, like as an extroverted person, they don't want to be alone, you know. They need to learn how to be alone in life, and that's kind of what we're all trying to achieve in life. So it's important that we all know who we are so that we can kind of get some kind of growth out of it. But it's also really good to understand the other side of it too, because the people that are extroverted that we find are doing things differently, they're not weird per se, they're just wired differently, you know. So we have to kind of accept that and go from there as a society.
I just think it's, as somebody who is severely introverted, it's just a skill that you need to grow, man. It's as your own personal journey, you need to be able to grow, and if that looks like, if you're extroverted, to learn how to love your own space, or if you're introverted, to learn how to love the space of other people, you know. Yep. And it's really important to get to that point. You don't have to be perfect, my guy. Like, I'm not out here saying I am the perfect introvert / extrovert, but you just have to know how to hold your own in different situations, right? And that's really, if there's one thing somebody should take away from today's episode, it's just work on yourself in terms of knowing where you stand, like similar to what you said, and knowing where you need to go. Just know the direction you need to go, and if I could make out of it, fam, anybody can make out of it.
If this nigga can make it out, anyone can make it out. I'm just saying, 100%.
Nah, I'd rather him have done that than what he did.
Fam, everybody,
the hands on the knee.
Everybody has moments. Everybody has moments.
Wild, yeah.
Fam, I don't appreciate you taking my vulnerableness and making fun of me, fam. That's all I gotta say.
No, it's just no.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Counseling.
This is Coffee Break Podcast, guys. Thank you. Please try and come back. Maybe subscribe and like.
Oh no.
These guys are weak, man. That's a good rap, still. That's a good rap.
Don't kill me. But yeah, no, this has been the Coffee Break Podcast. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure to go and like, share, subscribe. We got some really great, dope stuff coming out. We're on all platforms, guys. Check us out. I'm Slim. These are my brothers.
Jama.
Mukhtar.
We out.